Good morning. Hi, there's some wonderful events coming up. So I hope you'll check out our website and explore that a little bit further and sign up for the wonderful classes and book studies and events that are happening. But in this moment, we are going to connect and I'd like to sort of share a story. It's funny how we remember certain stories that some people tell us, like, for years we'll remember a story. Well, this story I'd like to share with you today was told by the minister at the Burbank Church of Religious Science. I think it's now Centers for Spiritual Living in LA, where my husband and I were attending years ago, like maybe 25 years ago. So forgive me if I mangle it or, forget some of the details. But here goes. Okay, so a large Italian family, loving Italian family that really cherishes getting together, making big meals. They come together, they share food and love and laughter. And the women in the family have been preparing this particular dish every single time that they get together. It's a special day. Everybody loves it. And so this recipe has been passed down from generation to generation, right? For decades, they've been making the same dish and loving it. And it's meatloaf. It's a dish of meatloaf, right? And, it's sort of your typical, they probably do it really well though, ground round. They probably use homemade breadcrumbs and milk and eggs and certain, blend of spices. But the last instruction in the recipe is a little odd. And that instruction is, after you put all of the ingredients together and you form it into a loaf, you are to cut off a quarter of the end of it and toss that away before you put it in the pan and bake it. So nobody asks why. They just sort of do it because, hey, it's written on the recipe. And this recipe has been coming down from generation to generation. All the women in the family for decades and decades have been making it. People love it. So why question? They're, just follow what it says and do it. Until one day, when the great-great-grandmother, whose recipe this is, their old home in Italy has finally gone up for sale. So some of the people in the family, travel to Italy and they, go through all of the belongings and, kind of divide it up, see what they want to keep and what they can release. And that's when they discovered it. One of the women was in the kitchen going through the dishes and the pots and pans, and she comes across a pan labeled meatloaf pan. And this pan is like 6 inches shorter than your typical loaf pan. Hence why she was cutting off a quarter of the end of it before she put it, because it didn't fit. So she must have written it down on the recipe, right? Here's the ingredients, the last step, cut it off. She probably just put it down there and everybody, no one questioned. They just did it because everybody loved the recipe. The whole thing could have fit just perfectly in their own pans, but of course, they just did it. They followed it as is because everybody in the family had been doing that. Oh, tradition, routine, doing things in the exact same way because we've always done it, because that's the way we do it. It's just such human nature, right? We human beings are such funny creatures. We will, get so caught up in our routines that very often we forget why we're doing it in the first place. But you know what? The pandemic has given us an opportunity to pause that and to reflect, right? It's one of the good things about this pandemic. There's actually quite a few good things that have come out of this last, 15 months. And that's one of them. And now, as we are getting back to kind of somewhat normal, we are now, and coming face to face with those old routines, we're asking ourselves, do I still need to do that? Or even, why am I doing that? Now that I know that I have a choice, what choice will I make? Many employees this last year have discovered that they could do their jobs perfectly fine from home. And so now that things are opening up, they're beginning to ask, well, do I need to come into the office again every day? Maybe not. Some are asking, do I even need to do this job anymore? Actually, a lot of people have, during this time, either they got laid off or they had a chance to reflect, to take some time and get quiet and reflect and see if that's really what they want to continue doing. A lot of people actually quit and started their own businesses or went into something else, or decided, yes, that is what they wanted to do and recommitted to it, kind of re-engaged with it. There's been a big shakeup in the way that we do things, everything in this last 15 months, right? So it is natural to ask those larger questions of why. Why am I doing this? And that is an exciting place to be. Reconnecting with the awareness of why we do something, why we do anything can be transformational. It can be transformational. So many people live their lives without much self-reflection. They just kind of go through the day. They live their day the way that they lived it the day before, or the day before that, or the day before that. There's just not a lot of reflection, not a lot of growth. That's true for a lot of people. I'm wondering if you have seen the musical Wicked, or maybe even heard the soundtrack of Wicked. There's some really great songs on that soundtrack, and some fun songs too. And there's one really fun song called Dancing Through Life. And in it, the character is singing about the virtues, the benefits of living an unexamined life. And he says, dancing through life, skimming the surface, gliding where turf is smooth, life's more painless for the brainless. Why think so hard? Learn to live the unexamined life. That's a choice, right? That's a choice, I guess. I don't think it would be any less painful, though. In fact, I think it'd be more painful. Living life unconsciously does not promote happiness. It promotes numbness. It's really not living at all. It's just kind of going through the motions. So, I quote a lot here Howard Thurman, the wonderful theologian, teacher, mentor to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Howard Thurman, because he has a lot of wonderful things to say. And one of the wonderful things he has to say is, and I think he was probably talking to a graduate class. He was the dean of Marsh Chapel at Boston University. One of the wonderful things he said was, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive, and go do that. What the world needs is more people who have come alive. What the world needs is more people who have come alive. We experience happiness when we're living in a way that makes us come alive. So reconnecting with our true purpose for our lives is, not only gives us a sense of excitement about living, but it also leads us in a way where we are contributing to the whole. And that gives us fulfillment, right? Because we are we are all connected in this beautiful web of life, living our true purpose by its very nature has a positive impact on others, on the world. And finding our true purpose is all about the why, all about connecting with our why. And I'm talking WHY here. What, not the Y's in YMCA, although that's good too, sure, you know. But today we're talking about WHY. Why are you here in this particular incarnation, in this your unique configuration of history and experiences and background at this particular time on this planet? Everyone has a unique why. Everyone has a unique why, and finding it is more a process of self-discovery, you know, self-reflection, inner revelation, than it is kind of trying to figure it out or making it up or copying what someone else is doing because, hey, that looks good over there. No, it comes from our soul. It's our own soul's code. It's what calls us. It's what makes us come alive. And some of you may already have that. You already know that. Maybe it's become part of your, you know, you've made it into your personal, you know, mission statement. If so, great, you're way ahead. And, you know, it might be time to check in with it again and make sure that it's still reflecting, you know, your truth now, because that does evolve over time. It might need a little tweaking, all right? So just check in with it. For many of us, though, it's a little more vague, right? It's, we just kind of have a sense of it. Might be something like, you know, I'm being a light in the world, something about being a light in the world. So that's a good start. It's a good start. But in order for it to really come alive, to move you, you really want to define it clearly. You know, how are you a light in the world? In what particular way are you a light in the world? And why is that important? And it's that last question that makes all the difference. It makes the difference between dancing through life, skimming the surface, and actually living this, you know, on purpose, a purposeful, passionate life. That's the thing that makes the difference. And when you understand it, when you connect with the why of why it's truly important, it is the thing that juice, it's the juice of our lives that empowers everything that you do. And it radiates out from you. It resonates with others. Not everybody, you know, but you don't want everybody, right? It just resonates with your tribe, with your peeps. You'll also find that when you connect with that why, things come together. Things begin to fall into place, and you find the discipline, the stamina, the skills that you need to live it. You'll also discover that people, resources, opportunities come to you, are attracted to you. You know, the things that help you bring it to life, to realize it. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. You know, I'm here to save the world. You know, well, yeah, that's great. But in what particular way? You know, right? What is your unique piece of that? See, that's what you want to look at. What is your unique piece and why is that important to you? May not be important to others. Why is it important to you? And it, it could, again, doesn't have this be this big thing. It could just be, I'm here to spread kindness in the world. Why? Because I know that kindness awakens the love in others. And when people are awakened to the love within themselves, things shift, truly. You are making a huge impact in others, and that can have a domino effect. Like the story, the smile domino. I think I read this in Brene Brown's book, the story about a shopper that goes into the store, and when she comes up to the counter, she gives a big smile to the woman behind the register, and that just makes her day. This woman behind the register who was concerned, she just got news that her mother had been diagnosed with cancer or something, so she was really sad. But that smile that she got just kind of reminded her that there's good in the world, that there's hope. And so that brightened her day. And so when at the end of her shift, when she gets on the bus to go home, she then passes that big smile on to the bus driver, who is also kind of in a funk, not in a really bad mood, but that suddenly brightens his day. So that when he goes home and he sees his teenage son lying on the bed, despondent, he has the presence of mind to go over to him and say, look, son, I know we haven't had a chance to really connect, and I haven't done a good enough job of reaching out to you, but I want you to know that I am here for you now. I'm listening. And the son sits up, puts his head in the father's shoulder and says, I'm so glad you said this today, because I was about to take this gun and end the pain. And instead he gives it to the father, and the father and son hug like they've never hugged before, and sit down and have a heart-to-heart conversation for the rest of the day. Now, did that all happen because the shopper in the store gave a big smile to the person behind the counter? You will never know. It didn't hurt though, right? And you never know. It could have been the thing that saved that boy's life. So I have created a little handout for you as a tool in helping you discover your why. What is your why? And hopefully our lovely Facebook greeter, Debbie Hall, is putting now a link to that in the chat session, so that you can click on that link and it brings you to the page on our website where you can download it. It's a PDF. You download it and print it out and have it. And there's a series of questions that you can take into meditation and really meditate on these ideas, really connect with your inner wisdom. We talked about many times, breathing, getting silent, connecting with that inner wisdom, and listening, asking these questions and listening. And some of the questions are, what is my life really about? What's it really about? What do I want it to be about? What makes me come fully alive? You see, it's different for everybody. That's what makes me come alive is different from you and you and you. It's all different, right? So answer that one. How, by being true to myself, do I contribute to the whole in a positive way? And then the last question, ask, and why is that important? Again, that last question of asking why is that important is the juice that empowers the whole thing. It empowers, it feeds the whole reason for being. So once you understand what it is, you'll want to connect with it every morning, right? Greet the morning with your why. You can turn it into an affirmation and affirm it to yourself, to the universe, and begin your day connected to that sense of aliveness, that sense of purpose, that sense of why I am here. All right. And I'm looking forward to hearing the results of this, hearing some of the answers that come up for you in this. So take this to heart, take your sheet and fill it out and really spend some time meditating on that. And I want to hear. All right. Peace and blessings.